Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you DuroSVK versus Oermen in round 1 lower bracket of the 5th Asia Pacific tournament. Today we're going to be seeing Odon River, and on the allied side the Guards Armoured under command of Durer, and on the Axis side the 116th Panzer. Now we haven't seen Durer yet in the tournament, and that is because he comes into the lower bracket replacing another player. And Oermen, he has found his way here by being knocked down by APT in round 1. But what I'm most excited about going into this game is the map and division combinations we have going up against each other. We have 2 armoured divisions on a map that really doesn't suit them very well. Odon River is a map that relies more on infantry ability than any other, because there are multiple choke points on the map for vehicles, and that makes vehicles a lot less valuable until you can break through either side. So that's something we're going to have to watch out for between these two divisions. Of course, on the side of the Guards Armoured we do have the Cromwell 7, and that will be very useful, but not as useful as it can be against some divisions, since the Panzer 3s on the side of the 116th have very good veterancy, and at close range it means that they can take advantage of that to defeat the unvetted Cromwell 7 in this case. There's also a lot of unvetted tanks in the form of these Stuarts, and if we take a closer look at what Durer has placed down, we can have a little talk about that. So for the bottom side it's going to be 2 Stuart 6s, followed up by a couple of rifles. Further up he has 2 units of motorised rifles with a Dingo and 2 units of rifles with a Cromwell 7. So he is going to be making use of the Cromwell 7, and I like how he's covered these bridges with armour at least, so that he can prevent enemy armour from pushing across. On the side of Oermen, he's still placing down his units, but on the bottom side has opted for a Panzer 3M with the Panzer Grenadiers early on. 2, 3, 4, 1 also going to be following up with some recon there. For the mid it's going to be some Panzer Grens, top side some Panzer Grens, also a Panzerschreck in the 250-10. I really like the thought of the use of Panzerschrecks on this map, due to the nature of the terrain. The Panzerschrecks work very well. They have plenty of places to hide, and they can find some really nice ranged engagements for themselves, whilst continuously being able to sort of run backwards and forwards and keep themselves hidden. So that's something that I think Oermen could take advantage of if he brought in maybe a second 250-10 with a Panzerschreck early on. Also, the other good thing is, because these 250-10s do have the 2-star veterancy, they can actually do a lot of damage at close range with that 5 AP. If they are, say, at 200 meter range or 300 meter range and shoot at a unit as it comes around the tree line, they infinitely increase the amount of penetration that they have, especially against a lot of Phase A armour. So 250-10s can actually be pretty lethal if they're used in the right way. Now a Panzergren has accompanied that 250-10 on the top side, and we have some command accompanying the Panzergrens towards the mid. So this is going to be incredibly interesting, because both players are focusing towards the bridges, that's for sure. But who breaks through first is what we're going to have to focus upon, because I feel like whoever does, and whoever gets a foothold on the other side of the river first, will likely come out on top for the rest of the game. So both players are going to have to play a balancing act, but in some ways the Guards Armoured does have an advantage in that their infantry availability is superior to that of the 116th. They have an abundance of rifles that they can try and push across these rivers, but one Panzer Grenadier squad has the potential to hold all of those back, especially one with high veterancy. So that may also be something we see, and something that we can't take for granted. So double Stuart 6, I'm not entirely sure where this one is going. It looks like it's going to come down to the bottom here, maybe try and cover the road with that sneaky line of sight there. Interesting placement. Rifles are going to try and get across towards this tree line. On the top side, half-track has already gone down. The motorised rifles are going to be charging forwards across the bridge, covered by the Cromwell 6, but the Panzergrenz, those MG42s can do a hell of a lot of damage. You can see both of the infantry squads being pinned and hit very hard. But if those Panzergrenz get entirely pinned, well, the half-track's going to be looking for the surrender there. 250-10 is coming over to help out and might be able to kill off the M5 half-track, but is not going to stop the surrender at least. Panzerschreck might also do the job. Yep, most certainly will. And while this Cromwell 7 is not going to want to get ahead of itself, pushing across towards the Panzerschreck. Now, Panzer Grenadiers on this top side have arrived with this half-track. Now, actually, both the rifle squads are going to reveal themselves as the Panzergrenz unload. But I feel like that is a bad thing for Durer, because the combination of that half-track and the Panzergrenz there can demolish that infantry. Panzer III is going to be engaging the Stuart, but the shooter wounded by the Stuart 6 is absolutely devastating, and with 2 Stuarts on target, honestly, these Stuarts could do a lot of damage. The 8 AP not being quite enough to penetrate. That was a couple of bounces onto the Panzer III. The second or third shot there from the first Stuart 6 does find the kill, however. 2, 3, 4, 1, maybe looking to sort of take off a bit of pressure, but not able to. Panzer III goes down to the bottom side. However, Durer has broken through on the top side. Cleans up one rifle squad, was moving to the second, but the Stuart 6 is going to save the day. In the mid, M5 half-track gets forced back by the 251. The fact that these are 2-star is really nice. Motorised rifles, of course, going to miss the first Piat they fire. Can they hit the second? Unvetted motorised rifle squad with a 6 accuracy Piat does not hit very often. Does manage to find the bailout though, and that is okay. Rifles are going to continue to pin down the Panzergrenz as they fall back. I'd like to see Durer get aggressive with those, honestly, towards the Oermen. Don't let those Panzergrenz recover. Get the Stuart 6 right up in their face. Play aggressively towards them, and really gain himself an advantage on this top side, where he kind of has already. Durer taking out the Panzergrenz and the half-track here, as well as now the 250-10. Of course, there is still the Panzerschreck he's got to worry about, but he's in a pretty good position, and as long as he sort of takes a wide berth from where he last saw the Panzerschreck, he should be fine. Sexton is now coming in. That's going to be providing some smoke support towards the Cromwell 7. I actually kind of like that. Whether it's intentional or not, it can be used very strategically by the Cromwell 7 to take a safe engagement with the Panzer III at range. At the 1000 meter range, or in this case the 700 meter range, the Cromwell 7 actually has a much better chance of penetrating the Panzer III than the Panzer III does the Cromwell 7. At close range, the Panzer III generally has the advantage because it has the extra veterancy and accuracy that make it more likely to hit first shot. But in this case, with the crew wounded, the Panzer III cannot get out of there, and the Cromwell 7 takes out the Panzer III. So this Cromwell 7 really starting to pay itself off. If it can clean up the 258 and the 251 whilst more infantry comes across and reinforces, then I think Durer is going to be sitting pretty for the rest of this game. Panzer Grenadiers are going to be found by these rifles. At close range, honestly, the rifles have the advantage there, so I'm surprised that Durer is not going to take that engagement. At the 1000 meter range, that's 8 HE versus the 5 HE of the Panzergrenz. The only thing you do have to be worried about is fire support going through tree lines like that, but in this case, it's not really an issue, and the Stuart 6 here are going to be able to engage the 2-3-4-1. So yeah, I'm surprised that Durer didn't commit to that. Either way, in the mid, motorised rifles are finding themselves pinned. Panzergrenz coming in there with the MGs as well. More reinforcements have arrived on the top side here for Oermen. He's brought up a Panzergrenadier. He's also brought up a Pak 38. This 253 half-track, though, is really going to be what he needs to clean up any more rifles and motorised rifles that do come forwards. Cromwell 7's making a move for the mid here, is going to take out one of the half-tracks. And although it's still 50-50 at the moment, Durer having a route over to the other side of the river is incredibly significant as this game continues. Now also with the Panzer guns being pinned down, this Cromwell 7 could easily fast move towards them. One of the half-tracks here does get killed off by the Panzer strike, but that's going to reveal its position. Not going to be killed off for now though. Unfortunately, the Bren guns of the motorized rifles aren't very effective. And that just being proved once again there. So a little bit of a stalemate on the bottom side. Stuarts don't want to push into the 2341 on the Panzer III. 2341 probably wouldn't be an issue, but Panzer III definitely might be. It's more on this top side that I think Durer should just continue his aggression. And so far it looks like he is, which is good to see. The rifle's going to be pushing across the river here. Motorized rifles following up. Stuart 6 is waiting to pounce. For the mid, it's going to be the Cromwell 7 looking to kill off the 258. Maybe get a shot onto these half-tracks. And yeah, interesting engagement, although on the bottom side, first shot from the Stuart 6 bails out the Panzer III. That is devastating for Oermen. These Panzer IIIs have really been letting him down, I'll tell you that much. One dying to the Cromwell 7, one died initially to the Stuart down here. Now another Panzer III going down to another Stuart. Not what you like to see. Now motorized rifles and half-track did manage to pin down and force back the Pak-38, so the Stuart 6 is getting aggressive now, takes out one half-track. The M5 half-track is going to be trying to engage the Pak-38. Pak-38 though misses. Oh, that is devastating for Oermen again. His units are just letting him down today. That M5 half-track just needs to keep charging that Pak-38. He can't allow it to recover, because otherwise there's a potential the Pak-38 could just shoot his units at close range. So he's just got to get aggressive, drive straight towards it, not use attack move, just use a standard move attack, since the half-tracks can fire on the move anyway. There's no need to sort of attack move them as such. Sexton does take out the Pak-38 in the mid, and the Cromwell 7 takes out the 258. Panzer III at max range engagement with the Cromwell 7 is not ideal, so that's going to want to get out of there. The Panzer going to go down. 232 is up here on the top side, but I don't believe that it's going to be able to do too much against the Stuart. There's two motorized rifles here. The 200 meter range Piat might actually come into play. M5 half-track going to be pinning down the Pak-38, but the 232 will kill a M5 half-track at close range. Got to be very careful with these engagements, Durer. Does get the motorized rifles to fire off of Piat, and that's going to be the 232 going down. Pak-38 finished off. +2 now in favour of Durer. He's kind of just cracked through the defences of Oermen, and Oermen's Panzer III, like I said previously, letting him down has put him in a very odd spot right now. I think it's all going to be down to this Panzerschreck, and if it can maybe get the kill onto the Cromwell 7, that would be a nice swing. Might allow the Panzer III to then get more aggressive towards the remaining units. These M5 half-tracks, the Universal Carrier and the Stuart 6. Panzergrens here, they're going to be attack moving behind enemy lines towards the Sexton. If a Panzergren with a 150 meter Panzerfaust ambushes a Sexton, I'm going to be incredibly impressed. Right, Panzer IIIM once again engaging the Cromwell 7. Cromwell 7 needs the command though. Durer is going to be bringing up that dingo to make sure it's covered. But in the meantime, we're pushing almost to a +3. A lot of territory in favour of Durer, and he does manage to pop the Panzer III. So a very significant kill there. Leaves him with a very significant advantage. So another Panzerschreck has come into the bottom side. I like this actually, because if Durer doesn't see it coming, this Panzerschreck is easily within range to kill this Stuart, and he could definitely make a dent on this bottom side. This Pak-38 also coming in as well. Deadly combination. Comes into this tree line, for example, can get a shot down onto the Stuart 6 further away. Oh, bail out there onto the Stuart 6. Pak-38 kills off the half-track. Panzerschreck is going to come under a lot of fire. Can also see the artillery coming down. Panzer is going to be killed, but it did bail the Stuart 6, and that is a nice hit indeed for the amount they cost. There's still the 250-10 alive, so that can deal with any half-tracks that decide to get aggressive, but this artillery fire could make things difficult for sure. Now the Bedford supply is coming up. That's to resupply the Sexton. Panzer Grenadiers trying to get into position here. If they get into one of these buildings, they could kill so many reinforcements. I remember I was playing in one of my single player campaigns, and one of my Panzergrens managed to kill like 3 Churchills because they were like in the way of like a reinforcing area. But in this case, actually going to get spotted out, and I'm not sure that Durer is going to let Oermen get away with that. We do see some Panzergrens have been pinned due to the Sexton pinning them down. Stuart's under fire once again, but it's, you know, it's still bailed out, so it's not really doing anything. Rifles are coming up and attacking the Pak 38. They're out of line of sight of the 250-10, so that's not getting involved. Motorized rifles did try and make some ground, but are not at the moment, as they took a lot of damage. Oh, Panzer Grenadiers getting deadly close right now to this Sexton. I love the way they're just standing in the field there and they aren't being spotted. That's incredible. Look at that. They're so close, yet they are invisible. Oh, wow. Okay, Tempest comes in on the bottom side. It's going to be strafing Pak 38 and 250-10. Rifles finish off the Pak 38. And just across the board, things are not looking great for Oermen. At the moment, 16 minutes and 15 seconds until Durer gains victory. Oh, the Sexton there, firing at close range, blows up the Panzergrens. Not going to let them get close enough. So what can the 116th do at this point? Well, I think it's really going to come down to how effectively these Marder 3s are used to kill off the armoured units on the top side here, the Stuart 6 in particular, and also this Cromwell 7. If these 2 units fall, there's a lot of potential for a pushback with infantry support onto the lines of Durer, because although the availability of infantry on the Guards Armoured is relatively high, the veterancy and quality of their infantry is actually relatively low. So in this case, you can see in the mid here, Panzer Grenadiers demolish motorized rifles. So that means that Oermen isn't going to need a lot of them to get the job done. 2-star Marder 3s are engaging. The Cromwell 7 get the crew knockout. Are they going to find the kill though? Oh, last shot there does the job. Very nice indeed. Takes out the Cromwell 7. Now it's just the Stuart 6. And honestly, there could be a lot of ground made back here. Now there is a 17-pounder on the way, and that could definitely do a lot of damage to the Marder 3s if it gets into the right position, but we'll have to wait and see. Panzer Grenadiers are running down the motorized rifles in the mid. More Panzer Grenadiers have arrived on the bottom side here. So those ones going to be taken out, a little bit of ground recovered. Still a +2 in favour of Durer. He's still counting up a lot of points. But there is still a chance for Oermen to come back. Like I said, as long as he continues to persist with these sort of significant kills. 17-pounder can seal the deal for Durer, I believe. If the 17-pounder, for example, kills off both these Marder 3s and maybe these support vehicles, then Oermen will definitely be in trouble. But at the moment, he has been allowed, Oermen, to recover. And with the introduction of these Panzer Grenadiers, I feel like he could maybe stop the +2, and already has, by bringing it back to 57% territory lead. Now the 232 and the 2341 opening up with their 50 cals, not 50 cals, the 20 mils, sorry, and the MG42s ripped to shreds enemy infantry, and this is a deadly combination that, if supporting the Panzergrens, can do a lot of work. Now here the Panzerschreck, that's going to be opening up onto the 17-pounder. is under fire from the universal carrier in the M5 half-track, but seems to be doing a nice amount of damage at the moment. Look at this one guy go. The Panzer on his back, MP40 in hand, going at it. Wow, that 17-pounder opening up onto the Marder 3. Oh, can the Marder 3s kill it? They can. Wow. Really, really nice job. Now, I kind of was hoping that the Panzer would find the Cromwell 7 kill, but it doesn't need to if it finds the 17-pounder kill. That was really, really nicely done there from Oermen. Was a little bit risky running his Marder 3s in front of the 17-pounder and allowing it to get off that first shot. But finding the kill definitely secures his advantage moving back into this game. And sometimes you do have to take those risks if you want to make it back when you're behind. Now 17-pounder, another 17-pounder has been brought up. That's going to be very scary for the 2-3-4-1 and the 2-3-2. Stuart 6 engaging the Panzergrens up here isn't great. They're going to get instant surrendered in the face of the motorized rifles. 17-pounder is going to take out both of those vehicles. The Pioneers have arrived here with the half-tracks, but the Piat there blowing up the half-track pins the Pioneers in their place. We do see that these vehicles are going to come down and pin some of this infantry in the open. Panzerwerfer, though, make short work of that 17-pounder, which may allow these Marder 3s to go and engage the Stuart 6. Now, one awkward thing here is that this Stuart 6 firing at the 251 is going to pin the Pioneers. Yes, the Panzergrens are able to open up with those MGs, but it just seems like the way in which Oermen is pushed, especially allowing his infantry to be clumped here, may cause him to lose out in this engagement eventually. There's now a Firefly 5C on the way. That's actually a really nice vehicle for killing off Marder 3s. So I like that Durer has invested upon that, but he's going to need some more rifles to sort of secure these buildings after the motorized rifles get killed off. But saying that, like I mentioned before, without smoke cover onto these Panzer Grenadiers, he can't afford to really have them clumped like this, because the likelihood is that he'll just have those pinned down and maybe surrendered by a push from a half-track or something, especially now that the Firefly is on the scene and has the potential to deal with the Marder 3s. Also, Durer here is looking for an engagement with the Stuart 6 at close range onto these Marder 3s, and these Marder 3s are going to be in an awkward position for sure. So yeah, all of this infantry is pinned, Firefly's moving up. This could be an absolutely deadly blow to Oermen. Okay, Stuart 6 comes around the corner. Probably doesn't want to be doing this whilst his Firefly is not involved. But the Firefly does get involved, finds a kill onto the Marder 3. The other Marder is driver wounded. Did manage to kill the Stuart 6. The Firefly now going to clean up the second one. 2-star Fireflies don't miss often due to their 6 accuracy base. And, well, that's Oermen's push entirely crushed. So I guess another way you could have done this is maybe use the Panzerwerfer with half of its ammunition to kill the 17-pounder and then put the other half into the town and then sort of pushed more aggressively with the half-tracks. But instead the half-tracks got killed by the Piats from the motorized rifles, and that's not what he wanted. So now he's in a really, really bad position, and the Firefly 5C has just cleaned house. Now unfortunately, due to this being in the special viewer, we can't see the pings of the players, but I'm assuming one of the players there commenting about that engagement. Firefly coming in and immediately paying itself off with the kills onto both Marders. +1 still in favour of Duro, and I liked how well the push was sort of constructed from Oermen, but now that it's been defeated, he's in a very, very sticky spot, and I think he's very lucky that Durer isn't getting hyper aggressive here and pushing him to the limit, because that's definitely something you can do with the 116th. If their constructed pushes like that fail, it does often leave them with a severe lack of units, and that's something that can be taken advantage of against the 116th Panzer. So Firefly just been backing off in the face of that Panzerwerfer. infantry is still very much alive in this town, but did get pinned briefly. Panzergrenz engaging the motorized rifles, but with the assistance of the half-track and the Firefly, that should go in favour of the motorized rifles actually. And these motorized rifles are at close range, do actually do a significant amount of damage to Panzergrenz. Similar to rifles, they have 8 HE at close range, so motorized rifles can't be sort of completely discounted. However, in general, if Panzergrenz are managed correctly and make use of their MG42s, then there's no reason a motorized rifle squad should survive very long. For example, on this bottom side, with the Kar 98 and the MG42 opening up, they do a lot of damage and pin down squads quickly. So does a Stuart 6 with 330 cals. So that happened. Either way, assisting the Firefly 5C now is going to be 2 Achilles. And as more Marder 3s come up for Oermen, I feel like he's going to have to be very careful with this engagement. Marder 3s are already at a disadvantage against Fireflies, let alone 2 more Achilles. Motorized rifles. First shot Piat kill. Am I seeing things? Does take out that half-track. Pioneers there really need to clean those out. Panzer 4H has been pushed up. Is going to clean up the Dingo. Nice kill on there to the command unit. This Achilles also will have to be careful though. Panzer 4 will aim faster, I believe. And with the Pack 40 behind, Achilles goes down without the Achilles firing a shot. Pioneers do clean up that motorized rifle unit. And it's only a +1 still, right, in favour of Durer. So it's not the end of the world. But in order to find an advantage for himself, Oermen is going to have to clean up the Achilles and the Fireflies. And I think that's going to be a very difficult task. The only real thing that Oermen has to kill a Firefly right now is a Panther. He could also maybe try and hit it with a Panzerwerfer and push aggressively with Panzer 4s. That could be another way to do it. But at the moment, I can't see anything of the like. And these Marders are kind of just sitting ducks, waiting to be picked off one by one by this Firefly. This Firefly could move forward just a little bit. And you can see how, if you watch this area where my cursor is, as I push the line of sight forwards, you can see that basically the Firefly can be pushed into a position where it can only see one Marder at a time. And that would give it a very favourable engagement whilst taking on either of them. So that's something that Durer could do if he noticed it. And that's honestly something I would recommend you always look out for if you're playing yourself. Just those ways to give your units an advantage in engagements that look completely against you. So in this case, a Panzer 4 and 2 Marder 3s versus a Firefly. On paper, there's no way the Firefly should win that. But if it's microed correctly, there's always a chance of you taking these engagements in your favour. Now the Firefly is going to open up onto Panzergrenz on the bottom side. Does kind of give away its position. Pack 40 is going to be moved up into the tree line, has had its HE turned off by Oermen. And that's looking to ambush that Firefly if it tries to push forwards. But for now, Durer doesn't really have to do too much. He has just solidified his position. He can probably see what he's up against. Let's have a look. Yeah, he can see both the Marder 3s. So maybe he's just thinking, I don't have to do anything, I can just sort of sit here and wait. He can, but he does need to be wary that Oermen doesn't set up for another strong attack like he did previously. And unfortunately the last one didn't work out for the Oermen, but it seems like he's definitely preparing for another one with the introduction of 2 Flampanzers here, as well as these other units we can already see. There's also a second Panzerwerfer, and it's not going to be long until both of those are ready to fire. And if they take out this Firefly or pin it down, then the Panzer 4 and Marder 3s can take back this town and really solidify their own ground moving over the river. Because you can see that beyond the river here, Duro doesn't have any units. He's just got the Sexton. So if these units are pushed back to the river and then get stuck falling back, then the only place they can get across is the bridge, and they get stuck, and then that's just a crushing victory for Oermen. But it remains to be seen. Panzerwerfers are getting into position. It's going to be really reliant on how this push goes. Oh, the Firefly has moved forwards here. What's that going to be engaging? Okay, just the Pack 40. Pack 40 going to be firing back by the looks of things. I'd like to see some extra veterancy with this Firefly. There's no command here anymore since the Dingo was taken out. But that Firefly may be able to clean up the Pack 40, which will make things easier for him if he wants to engage the Marder 3s in the future. The Panzerwerfers, one of them's targeting the Firefly, the other's targeting the town. And with all of these forces waiting and ready to go, I'm surprised that he did stop them with the Panzer or Flampanzers. But yeah, I'm not sure how this is going to go. I feel like some of this infantry at least is going to recover before it gets there. The Firefly 5C was not being engaged upon whilst those Panzerwerfer strikes came in, so the Marder 3s will unlikely get a kill here onto the Firefly. So best bet really for Oermen is to hope that his Flampanzers can clean up the infantry, his Panzer Grenadiers get into position, and then maybe he can go for a push. But look how many points Durer has saved here to bring in 2 Typhoon ATs alongside 2 Tempests. Those Typhoon ATs are not only going to stop the entire push from Oermen, but also kill off the Marder. And I guess this is why Durer's been taking a back seat, as if he's had that many points up his sleeve. Yeah, it's no surprise that he's just got to have, well, he had to wait for Durer to, or Oermen to really play into that. That's insane. Pack 40 is going to open up onto the 17 pounder briefly. But yeah, Panzerwerfer strikes eventually came to nothing, since all of those forces forced back. Still a +1 in favour of Durer. Not much else I think Oermen can do at this point. Again, he created another constructed push, but having it not spaced properly really affected his aggression, and now the Firefly has recovered. A Sherman 5 has come up to assist that, and it's currently just killing off all of these half-tracks on the right here. So one Flampanzer going down, one half-track going down, both half-tracks actually gone down. Flampanzer, second Flampanzer gone down. Huge blow to Oermen's capabilities. Without the pin onto these forces, the Firefly just tears him apart. Now there is 2 mobile wagons on the field, and they may be able to stop future strikes, but I'm not really sure if it matters if all of his units are dead. ME-109 G6R6 does shoot down one of the Tempests. There is AA on the side of Durer, and it looks like this Tempest might find the kill onto the ME-109 G6 anyway. Yep, does get onto the back. Not quite going to shoot it down in time due to the mobile wagons. But that ME-109 out of commission for a very long time. Marder 3 finishes off the last motorized rifle. Sextons are pinning down the Panzerwerfers. But with one Marder 3 left, one Befehl Panzer 4, I don't feel like it's going to be enough to push through. It's a shame because throughout this game we've seen 2, again, constructed pushes come into the battlefield from Oermen. But the way he's executed on the pushes has really lacked and has caused him to lose out quite significantly in those engagements. Because when you present a lot of forces like that, it's very easy to get like groups of soldiers pinned down, and that's exactly what happened. On the top side, Pioneer's just going to be committed suicide into the 2-star M5 half-track. And that's going to be it. Oermen surrenders after the 30 minutes and 59 seconds. That means that DuroSVK is going to be victorious with the 2,150 kills to 1,140 losses. Congratulations to him. Going to be moving on to lower bracket round 2 of the tournament. Oermen going to be knocked out. So I think a nice couple tries. But again, execution is what mattered. And Oermen, unfortunately, not able in this one. If we jump over to the kills, Cromwell 7 early on, what an absolute hero. Took out 2 Panzer 3Ms, took out the 258. And this is often what I talk about with the Cromwell 7 superiority at the 1,000 meter range versus both enemy tanks and also AT guns in Phase A. And in this case, we saw that demonstrated. At closer range, the Panzer 3s probably would have won, but not at the longer range where they were being engaged. Stuart 6s also did a fantastic on the job on the bottom side, killing off one of the Panzer 3Ms. This one taking out the Pak 38 Panzergrenadier, 2 half-tracks, 3 half-tracks actually. Pays itself off nicely. Another Stuart 6 getting a Panzer 3 kill there. Then the Firefly came in, completely changed the dynamic of this game. The Firefly 5C can pretty much kill anything that Oermen can throw at it. And the only thing that would have taken out the Firefly is a Panther, and we didn't see one of those for the entire game. So it's unfortunate that Oermen never felt like he had enough points to bring one of those in. But that simply comes from the pressure that Duro put on early. Either way, interesting game for sure. Commiserations to Oermen for losing out this time around. But congratulations to Duro. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.